The stars looked calm, until everything exploded. Eli Cross, a human pilot, was flying solo through Sector 12. He was on a delivery run, a boring one. At least it was supposed to be. Then something hit his ship. A magnetic mine? A hidden trap? He didn't know. The ship spun fast, alarms screamed, and flames sparked in the cockpit. Eli shouted as he tried to regain control. "Stabilizers offline," the ship's AI warned. "I can see that," he shouted back. The planet below came fast, a glowing moon covered in strange, shining crystal fields. He didn't have time to think. He just pressed all emergency buttons and braced himself. Boom! The ship crashed. Metal broke, glass shattered, and everything went black. When Eli woke up, the ship was dead quiet. Smoke rose from broken panels. The lights flickered. His arm was bleeding, but he was alive. Outside the window, the sky was purple. Blue crystals stood tall like frozen trees. It was quiet. Too quiet. He limped to the control panel. Life support is low. Food storage destroyed. Radios fried. He cursed under his breath. He was alone. Stranded. And the moon looked empty. For hours he tried to fix something, anything. The engine was cracked. Power cells were leaking. No signal could escape the atmosphere. Night came fast, and the cold did too. He sat on a metal box, wrapping himself in a torn thermal blanket. Just when he thought he would freeze to death, he heard a sound outside. Not wind. Footsteps. Eli grabbed a sharp pipe and slowly stepped out of the ship. A strange figure stood a few meters away, tall, glowing slightly under the moonlight. It was an alien. She had soft, smooth skin, tinted pale purple. Her eyes were silver. Her body shimmered with faint blue lines, almost like circuit marks. She didn't speak. She didn't move. Just stared. Eli held the pipe tightly. "I don't want trouble," he said slowly. Still she said nothing. Instead, she walked closer, slowly, and reached out toward the wrecked ship. Eli stepped back. "Wait, what are you—" She walked past him like he wasn't there. With calm hands, she opened a panel of the ship. Her fingers moved fast, twisting, pulling, tapping. Eli blinked. You're an engineer?" No answer. She crouched beside the engine and pulled off one of her gloves. Her skin touched the metal, and it glowed. The ship hummed. Eli's heart raced. "What the hell are you doing?" She stopped suddenly. Then began removing the rest of her suit, first the chest piece, then the arm sleeves, then the light cloth covering her back. Eli turned red. "Whoa, hey, what are you—" But the alien didn't flinch. She stood tall now, body covered in glowing circuit-like patterns, like she was becoming part of the ship. Her chest lit up, pulsing blue, and wires slid from her back like vines, connecting to the core. The ship's engine pulsed. Energy flowed again. Lights returned. Eli stood in complete shock. She was saving his ship with her body, but it looked like it was hurting her. Her knees shook. Her breath became heavy. Her skin dimmed. Eli rushed forward. "Stop! You're killing yourself." She looked at him now for the first time, really looked, and gave the smallest nod, as if to say, "It's okay." Suddenly sparks flew from the panel. She cried out, fell back, and the lights died again. Eli caught her just in time. Her body was hot, burning from inside. She was barely conscious. "Don't move," he said. "I've got you." He carried her inside the wreck, laid her gently on a padded seat, and covered her with the last clean blanket. Her skin flickered weakly. She whispered something, a soft sound. Not human words, but it felt like, "I trust you." Eli sat beside her all night, watching her breathe. The ship was still broken. He was still stranded, but now he wasn't alone. Eli didn't sleep much that night. He sat close to the glowing alien girl, her breathing slow and soft. Her body, strange but beautiful, gave off a faint blue light. She had wrapped herself tightly in the blanket he gave her, but her skin still looked cracked, like broken glass filled with light. He whispered to himself, "Who are you?" But she didn't answer. By morning, she woke. Her eyes opened slowly, silver, and shining like starlight. Eli moved closer. "Hey, are you okay?" She blinked, then slowly sat up. Still not a word, just quiet breathing. She looked around the ship's broken walls, then pointed at the damaged engine core. Eli followed her hand. "You want to fix it again?" She nodded once, but instead of speaking, she moved to a storage cabinet. Eli watched in silence as she pulled out a cracked toolkit. Her fingers danced over wires and circuits, but she never said a single word. No yes, no no, just small hand signs and strange blinking lights under her skin. Eli finally asked, "Why don't you talk?" She turned her head and looked at him, then gently touched her throat, then her chest, then the air, and then her body lit up again. Sparks ran along her arms like lightning lines. Each pulse flickered in different patterns, almost like a language. Eli leaned forward. "Wait. Is that how you talk?" She blinked, then made a small movement with her hand, almost like a tiny nod. Her language wasn't made of words. It was made of light and touch, a living signal. Eli smiled. "That's actually pretty amazing." She tilted her head, curious. Then, she did something unexpected. She reached out and gently touched his chest. For a second, her fingers sent a spark into his skin. A warm feeling ran through him. Not pain, something else, a message, a single idea. "You're not dangerous." Eli placed his hand over hers. He didn't know how to send light or signals, but he said, "You're not dangerous either." She pulled her hand back and gave him a soft look, not a smile, just calm. Then she stood up and began pulling off her blanket. Eli panicked again. "Whoa, hey, wait." But this time he noticed something different. She wasn't just removing her blanket like before. She was preparing to work. Her skin, now glowing brighter, connected with the ship's core again, but slower, gentler. This time Eli didn't stop her. Instead he watched and learned. When her fingers touched the metal, the wires glowed. When her back arched and connected with the panel, the broken ship began to hum. This time, it didn't hurt. She was calm, in control. Eli leaned closer and whispered, "You're not just fixing it, you're speaking to it." The alien girl turned her head and nodded. They worked together for hours. Eli brought her tools. She made sparks. He adjusted panels. She linked cables with her fingertips. The ship's systems, dead for 2 days, began to wake up, one by one. Later, while eating dried food rations, Eli offered her a small energy bar. She didn't take it at first. Then, slowly, she reached out and touched his hand instead of the food. Her light pulsed once across his fingers. He didn't need a translator to understand, "Thank you." They sat in silence, side by side. No words, no fear, just 2 lives, slowly learning to trust. That night, Eli lay awake watching the soft glow of her chest and arms flickering in the dark. It wasn't just light. It was language. It was emotion. She was telling him things without speaking, and he felt something strange inside. A connection, not of species, not of survival, but of understanding. By the 3rd day, the silence between them had become something peaceful. Eli no longer needed to speak. He had learned to read her light signals. Not all of them, just enough. When she blinked twice slowly, it meant stop. When the lights on her shoulder dimmed, it meant danger nearby. And when she softly glowed blue, he knew she was calm. Her name, he finally learned, was Karina. Not through speech, through gesture. She traced the pattern on a screen with her fingers, then tapped her chest. Eli smiled. "Karina," he repeated. She nodded. Then she gently tapped his chest. "Eli." Her lips didn't move, but her eyes held the word. The ship was still broken, but now it had power. The core glowed, the lights worked, the heating coil hummed, but there was a problem, a dangerous one. The cooling unit was cracked, and if Karina tried to fully activate the engine again, the whole system might overheat. Eli warned her. He showed her a diagram on the screen. "If we push this too far," he said, tapping the overheat warning icon, "you'll get hurt again." Karina looked at him for a long time. Then, with gentle fingers, she touched his hand. A warm pulse moved up his arm. "I know, but I choose to." The next morning, Karina stood in front of the engine. Her bodysuit was gone again, folded neatly beside the power panel. This time, Eli didn't turn away. He understood now. For her species, exposing the skin wasn't about shame. It was about connection. The glowing circuit lines across her back flared like starlight. She breathed deep, then stepped forward. Wires extended from her body. Her chest touched the main conduit. The ship trembled. Energy poured into the core. Lights exploded. Steam hissed. The heat in the room rose fast. Eli watched as her knees shook, but she didn't stop. "Karina!" he shouted. "It's too much." She turned her head. Her eyes were glowing, but her face was pale. He ran to the panel. "You have to pull out." But her body was fused, physically and electrically, with the system. She couldn't pull out. She was trapped. The ship's AI suddenly came online. Warning. Core temperature at 110%. Karina collapsed to one knee. Her hand slammed into the panel, still holding the connection. Eli didn't think. He grabbed an old cooling cable from the wall and rushed behind her. He wrapped it around her shoulders, pulling her gently back, breaking the link. The ship groaned but didn't explode. Sparks fell everywhere, then silence. Karina lay still. Eli dropped to his knees beside her. "Hey, stay with me, Karina." Her skin was still glowing but weak, flickering. Her chest rose and fell shallowly. Eli picked her up in his arms. Her skin was burning hot. He laid her on the floor beside the only working fan. The cooling air blew over her slowly. Eli poured drops of water onto her forehead. Her body twitched, her eyes fluttered, and then she whispered, not in lights, not with sparks, but with her lips. "Eli." His breath caught. She spoke, a single word, not just language, but his name. He took her hand gently. "I'm here." She blinked slowly, and for the first time, her lips curved into a small smile. Later, she rested, weak but breathing. Eli sat beside her, staring at the console. The engine was stable. The power was back. They had one more thing to do: fix the radio. But right now, he just watched her, this alien, this girl who risked her life again and again. And something deep inside him whispered, "She's not just helping me survive. She's choosing me." Eli sat with her hand in his for a long time. Karina lay beside the warm fan, wrapped in a soft blanket. Her skin no longer glowed brightly. It was faint now, like starlight hidden behind thin clouds. The silence was heavy, not empty. It was filled with something new, not fear, not confusion, but something that felt almost like peace. When she finally stirred, Eli leaned close. "Karina?" Her eyes blinked open, slow, calm, silver as always. She looked at him, then at her hand in his. She didn't pull away. Instead, she gently pressed her palm against his chest, just over his heart. And there her body pulsed softly with light. One slow pulse, two quiet sparks, a breath. Eli didn't speak. He didn't need to. He just placed his hand over hers and waited. In her culture, touch was sacred. He knew that now. She had let him carry her. She had let him touch her skin, and now she was offering something even more personal. A connection, a bond. The lights on her skin shifted color, soft blue to pale pink. She closed her eyes, and then she leaned forward and touched her forehead to his. It was small, it was quiet, but it meant everything. His heart skipped, because it wasn't just contact, it was trust. Complete, unshaken, wordless trust. Eli whispered, "You're not just saving me. You're choosing me." Karina opened her eyes slowly. Then, for the second time ever, she spoke in a soft, breathy voice. "We don't touch this way, unless we mean forever." He sat still, stunned, not from fear, but from the truth in her eyes. Suddenly, the ship's console beeped. A warning light flashed. Eli stood quickly, checking the alert. It was the radio system. The distress signal he had been trying to send was working. He turned to Karina. "The signal is live." She slowly sat up, still weak. Eli ran a system check. Power, stable. Life support, low, but holding. Signal range, active. A human outpost could pick them up within hours. They could be rescued. But Karina was not smiling. She stared at the signal screen, quiet. Then her skin dimmed slightly, and she turned her head, slowly, to Eli. He frowned. "What's wrong?" She pointed to the signal logs. Incoming message. Encrypted. She touched the screen and decoded it using her glowing fingers. A strange alien script appeared. Then, her light went cold. Eli leaned over. "Target locked. Subject. Karina. Classified fugitive. Retrieve or eliminate." He froze. "They're coming for you?" She nodded. Her shoulders trembled just once. Not in fear. In knowing. Eli stood up fast. "No way. We shut the signal down." He moved toward the console. But Karina gently caught his wrist. She looked at him with calm eyes, then lit a soft pulse across her hand. "No, you must be found. You need rescue." Eli shook his head. "Not without you." Her eyes narrowed in warning. "It's not your fight." He squeezed her hand tightly. "It is now." There was a moment of stillness. Then, Karina leaned forward again. Her forehead touched his once more, but this time her skin glowed gold. A new color. Warm, deep, rare. A color that meant, in her language, bond accepted. Eli didn't fully understand her species, but he understood what she was saying now. She didn't just trust him, she had chosen him. That night he rewired the signal system with her. Together they masked her identity and bounced the signal off nearby crystal formations. Maybe it would buy them a few hours. Maybe more. All they knew was someone was coming and they'd face it together. The signal had been sent. But now Karina sat in silence, her silver eyes fixed on the night sky. The stars above were too quiet, too cold. Eli checked the ship's console again. Power was holding. Signal range was stable. But the tracker light blinked red. That meant one thing. Someone had found them. Karina stood behind him, calm but still. The soft lights in her skin flickered pale blue, then faded. She said nothing. Eli turned around. "You think it's your people?" She slowly nodded. He clenched his jaw. "Then we shut the signal down. Now." But Karina gently reached out and touched his hand, her skin warm. A golden glow passed between them. "They will come. I must face them." Eli shook his head. "They'll take you, or worse." "They were once my family," she signaled. "But you are my bond now." A long pause followed. Then Eli said, "You saved me. Twice. I'm not letting you walk into danger alone." Karina looked at him with something more than light, something human, something real, and she nodded once. Hours passed. Then, a ship appeared above the moon's horizon, long, dark, and shaped like a crescent blade. It wasn't human. Its engine made no sound. Its landing gear didn't stir the dust. But Eli's gut told him one thing. This ship wasn't here to help. They stepped outside together. Karina had redressed, her full skin-covering suit now active. Her glowing lines were dim as if hiding. Eli kept a wrench tucked into his belt. Not much, but it felt better than nothing. The alien ship's hatch opened. Out stepped 3 figures, wrapped in armor, tall and faceless. Their helmets hissed as they walked forward. They said nothing, not even to Karina. She stepped ahead of Eli and raised her hand, showing her glowing palm in peace. Her light pulsed a greeting pattern. The middle soldier pulsed back, a military code of command. Karina's lights dimmed. Eli could feel it. They weren't asking her to return. They were ordering her. Suddenly, the soldiers raised their arms, not hands. Weapons. Eli stepped forward fast. "Hey! She's not going with you!" The nearest soldier raised a pulse cannon. Karina moved faster. She threw out a burst of white, light from her hands, not an attack, but a shock signal. The cannon overloaded and sparked. The soldiers fell back a step. Then, they aimed at Eli. Karina stood in front of him instantly, arms wide. "He is my bond!" Her body glowed, lights flashing red gold in defense. "Touch him and you break our law." For a moment the soldiers hesitated, then the lead soldier stepped forward and did something unexpected. He removed his helmet. Beneath, it was an older alien, male with deep silver eyes like Karina's. His voice was deep. "You were sent to observe humans, not bond with one." Karina didn't flinch. "I found more than I expected." He frowned. "You broke your path." Eli growled, "She saved my life. She's more loyal than any of you." The soldier looked at Eli, then quietly asked Karina, "You would stay with him?" Karina didn't answer with light. She reached out and took Eli's hand. A soft golden glow spread between them. She whispered, "My bond is made." The lead soldier paused, then stepped back. He raised his arm to his companions, and they powered down their weapons. "Then your path is yours," he said coldly. "But don't expect rescue next time." The soldiers returned to their ship. The hatch closed, and without a sound, they vanished. Eli stood frozen. What just happened? Karina looked at him, breathing slow. "They won't help us again. I'm no longer one of them." Eli looked at the quiet stars, then at her. "Good," he said, "because now, you're one of us." The alien ship was gone. The dust had settled, but danger wasn't over. Far above, the moon's purple sky had begun to twist, clouds circling, lightning flashing between the glowing crystal peaks. A storm was coming. Not just any storm, a crystal storm. Deadly winds that hurled sharp crystal shards like knives. Storms that could tear a ship apart before it even left the ground. Eli looked up, eyes squinting against the wind. Karina stood beside him, her silver eyes scanning the skies. Her body lights blinked quickly, warning signals. "This storm will kill us if we stay," she signaled. Eli tightened the strap on his jumpsuit. "Then we take off now." Back in the cockpit, Eli powered up the engines. They hummed stronger than ever, thanks to her. Karina slipped into the co-pilot seat, already connecting her glowing fingers to the ship's control ports. The moment she touched them, the dashboard came alive. Her body merged with the ship like a conductor of light. "Navigation?" Eli asked. Karina tapped a glowing crystal on the screen. A path appeared, zigzagging between tall crystal spikes and storm clouds. "Danger, 92% chance of failure." Eli smirked. "So you're saying we have an 8% chance to live?" She blinked. Her lights glowed gold for a moment. "If we fly together?" "Yes." The ship rose from the ground. Winds hit hard. The crystals below began to shake, then burst into the air like spears. Eli pulled the controls hard. The ship twisted, dodging the first wave. Karina's eyes glowed brighter. Her fingers flared with white light, adjusting the stabilizers in real time. "Here comes the big one," Eli shouted. A mountain of cloud and lightning swallowed the sky. Inside the storm, everything went white. Crystal shards smashed against the shields, electricity danced along the hull. Eli could barely see. Then, Karina reached across the console and touched his hand. Her body surged with energy. And suddenly, the storm slowed. Not the real storm. His fear. Eli looked at her. She wasn't scared. She was focused, controlled, alive. He took a deep breath and tightened his grip on the controls. Let's finish this. They dived low through a canyon of floating crystals. One of them clipped the wing. Damage on port. Stabilizer, Eli yelled. Karina's arm pulsed with orange light. She sent a shock through the wiring, rerouting power. The ship leveled. Another flash of lightning hit the front shield, blinding. Eli felt the ship drop fast. He screamed. Karina's glow surged. She threw both hands onto the dashboard and screamed too, one of pain, one of power. Her back arched. Her light shot into the console. The ship jerked up at the last second, soaring above the spike cliffs. They broke through the storm, into open air, sky above, light below, quiet, just the hum of their heartbeat. And the ship. They were out. Eli let out a long breath. His hands shook. He looked over. Karina was slumped in her seat, eyes closed, skin flickering with dim light. Karina, he said, reaching over. She was breathing, but just barely. Too much energy used. She'd burned herself to save them. Again. Eli picked her up gently and carried her to the resting pod in the back of the ship. He laid her down and wrapped her in the emergency heat blanket. He brushed hair from her face and whispered, "You didn't just fly through that storm. You carried me through it." A soft pulse of gold flickered on her wrist. "You are my sky." He smiled, eyes wet. "And you're my heart." Outside the window, the storm still raged far below. But up here, they had peace. And more than that, they had each other. The storm was far behind them now. Eli flew the ship through open skies, quiet and calm. The stars above were wide and endless. The moon's edge faded into deep space, and all around was still. But behind him, in the ship's resting pod, lay something far more important than safety. Karina. The alien girl who saved his life, who risked herself, who connected with his soul without using a single word. Eli walked softly into the back cabin. She was awake. Barely. Her silver eyes met his, and, for the first time, she smiled fully. Small, gentle, real. Her glow was weak, but steady. Her suit was back on, loose and soft over her body. But as Eli knelt beside her, she did something quiet, something familiar. She reached up and slowly began removing the outer layer of her suit. Eli stopped her gently. "You don't have to." She looked into his eyes, then took his hand. She placed it on the glowing line that ran across her chest, the same line that once lit the ship's engine. It pulsed once. Then she whispered, "Do you know what it means?" He shook his head slowly. She pressed her forehead to his. Their breath mixed in the space between, and she said, "When my kind removes our skin wear, it is not for work, not for function. It is for offering." Eli stayed still, heart pounding. Karina continued, "I did it first to save the ship. But when I did it again, I was choosing you. My body is light, but my heart is yours." She placed his hand over her glowing heart line. It was warm. Not like heat from machines, it was the warmth of trust, of bond, of something pure. Eli leaned forward and gently rested his head against hers. "I don't care if we're from different worlds," he whispered. "I've never met anyone like you, and I never want to lose you." Her lights glowed golden again, a color that meant soul match. Later that night, Karina sat beside him in the front seat of the ship. Her head rested on his shoulder. The stars outside moved slowly, peacefully. She pointed to a soft blue nebula in the distance. "My people come from there. But now, I belong here." Eli smiled. "With me?" She nodded. then whispered, "With us." They drifted through space together, two beings from different galaxies now tied by something deeper than language. A crash had brought them together, a storm had tested them, and a choice had bonded them. Not forced, not survival, but love. Back in her culture, others would never understand. But Karina didn't care. She had made her bond freely, not with one of her kind, but with a human who never asked for her body, never tried to control her glow, just held her hand and believed in her. She had taken off her suit that day on the ship not to seduce, but to speak, to say, "This is me, all of me, and I give it to you." And Eli, he had listened. He had seen her light and returned. It was something greater, not sparks, not fire, but faith. Their journey had just begun, but the story would be told across stars, in whispers and songs, of a girl made of light and the man who didn't fear her glow.